Hi, welcome to another edition of Business Bites. My name is David Tighe, the Managing Director of Bauer Media here in Northern Ireland. And each week we delve into the world of business. We tell a story, we find out, we get some insight, and we find out what's going on. This week, really pleased that our guest is Simon Gray. He's the CEO of Boost Drinks, or as he describes himself, the Chief Energizing Officer. Simon, welcome to Business Bites.
Thanks very much for the invite.
Well, it's great to have you. Let's get straight into the story of Boost Drinks because, first of all, it is a special time for Boost Drinks, but we'll come on to that in a second. But let's wind the clock right back. Really interesting story of how you got started. Tell us a little bit about the beginning.
Okay, so as you pointed out, big year for us this year. So we're celebrating 20 years in Northern Ireland. So if we wind back, I set up the business in 2001. I was the energy drinks drinker at university. So I was probably the shopper before I was the brand owner. And there was no vision at that point to launch a brand. I was using energy drinks at university, partying probably a bit too hard because my parents hauled me home for my first degree. But I went back into a different university back in Leeds, actually, where I'm based. And I think on the back of that, really understood the proposition. I sort of fell a little bit into the food and drink industry, had a summer job in a wholesaler, set up my own business on the back of seeing what they were doing. I was approaching manufacturers to buy stock from them. One of them I approached and kind of said, look, if I trademark this brand, would you give me, the opportunity to pack this for me? Thankfully, they said yes. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation today. So yeah, we all need a little bit of luck along the way. And for a couple of years, I guess I had two businesses, my wholesale business and trying to get the Boost brand off the ground. And after a couple of years in, which has actually sort of coincided when we launched into Northern Ireland, the brand started to build some traction. So it became very much all about, trying to grow the brand from there. And it's been a very much built from the bottom up. I mean, most of the brands in the whole of the food and drink sector are really owned by sort of the big stable of brand owners, whether it be a Coca-Cola or a Unilever or a Procter & Gamble, that type of thing. So to be a private business, I guess was a challenge, but it's a challenge that we rose to. So yeah, it was very organic seeding with the wholesale and cash and carry sector, both over here in England, but also at the same time, in the Irish marketplace. Right. We've worked with a trade that we thought we had a very compelling value for money alternative to what was out there at the time. That was our sort of point of difference. They backed us, they've worked with us, and bit by bit, we've got product into more stores, I guess, into more hands of consumers, tried to raise the brand profile through the media work that we do. The portfolio's expanded. And really, yeah, I guess the team that's developing the brand plans and the execution has kept developing. Should point out at this stage, we're not a manufacturer. We're very much a sales and marketing business. So we're working with quite big manufacturing partners across the UK and Europe. And yeah, 20 years down the line, yeah, it's never a straight line, as I'm sure you know from talking to plenty of other businesses. And but yeah, really proud of where we've got to. The Northern Ireland market is quite special for us. It is quite unique, and we've reached quite a place within the market where we are in terms of the number of units that are sold within very much the convenience retail market, which is kind of what we talk about in terms of your local shop. We are the number one energy drinks brand sold by volume, which it is a pretty immense accolade, one that we're very proud of. A big thank you and a big sort of shout out has to go out to our distribution partner, who is Hardy Sales and Marketing, run by the Hardy family, Gareth Hardy, who again has worked with us right back from the start. He understood the marketplace. We shared the proposition. And really, it's been very much, building the brand from there. And, to that point, it's been, an amazing 20 years, which I think, as well, it's culminated with a sale of the brand at the back end of 2022. Probably a little bit ahead of my personal timeline, but at the same time, we have been bought as a standalone business by the AG Bar PLC, the guys who own Iron Brew and Rubicon. So a big UK sort of powerhouse behind us now, which we believe brings more security in a sort of very volatile kind of marketplace.
Just jump in there and just ask you, what's so special about the Northern Ireland market? Because you're in multiple markets. So what's the special relationship? What do you think that is here?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. I mean, we didn't realize at the start about why we were selling so much. And it turns out a couple of years down the line, the Northern Irish consumers are the second largest consumers of energy drinks in Europe. Now, I don't know why that is. I don't live in Northern Ireland. Maybe it's lifestyle, but we've all got hectic lifestyles. But they are drinking serious amounts. So there's a bit about what the shopper's doing. But going back to the point about the trade and the business-to-business relationships that Gareth and his family have built and delivered on through the years, they're a very loyal base. If we have a business proposition in terms of customer service, availability, profit delivery for them that works, we've really worked closely, in tandem and taken on board their thinking. And it's just gone from strength to strength. So when you've got a business proposition and a consumer proposition sort of dovetailing really nicely, the answer's somewhere between all of that.
Okay. So obviously 20 years, you're doing some things to mark the special occasion. Tell us a little bit about some of that you've got planned in Belfast.
Yeah, so one thing that I think we're probably a little bit guilty of is probably not celebrating success. As a world, I think sometimes, it's always on to the next thing. And we wanted to make a big play that 20 years in Northern Ireland is a major milestone for us. We've launched a campaign that runs throughout the year called Always in Your Corner, which is very much recognition that the brand is always delivering for people in terms of meeting their energy requirements during the day. But really, I guess for everybody that's been engaged with the brand, both trade, so the retailers, and also the sort of local heroes within the shops that we all shop in, it's a thank you, it's a reward for loyalty, it's an opportunity to celebrate. So we're looking for local heroes across the country, and it's all going to culminate with a bit of a glitzy dinner in November at the amazing Titanic Hotel.
So just for people who might be at the beginning of a business journey, we get lots of people, lots of different parts of the journey watching this. You've obviously, we won't say you're at the end because you're perhaps at the beginning of the next phase. Let's just put it like that. But when you look back, what kind of things come to mind in terms of the things that you've learned over the years, or the mantras that have stuck with you, or the experiences that have happened that have made you I suppose, the business leader that you are today? What are some of those learns that people can dig into?
Okay, so being brutally frank, there was no business plan at the start. I mean, there's more of a plan now. I guess I always encourage entrepreneurs that, you've got to have an idea. You've got to have something that you believe in, but kind of get on with it. You don't have to have the polished article. It doesn't have to be perfect. I think you've got to try and get the rock rolling. So if you believe in something, then try and get at least a prototype or something to the market, because timing is often, critical. It's always going to demand hard work and passion. I think that's a bit of a given. But I think if you start to put yourself out there, you're networking, you're meeting people, doors kind of open, a little bit organically, really. Don't just wait for it to come to you. I think in terms of having a vision and having a clear strategy and having a compelling culture, a lot of things that I think really are a lot of why we've seen the success we have didn't come at the start. I've never been an employee really of a business before, and I've certainly not been an employer before. So at the start, when you've got a kind of a close proximity to everything, it's a little bit easier as that grows and you start to bring more people in. I think having clarity on what you're trying to achieve, the way you want to achieve it, the speed that you want to achieve it, having the people and the tools, whether that be the management information, the cash flow, all of that kind of stuff. You're learning all the time. And I think what I would always try and look for in people is a real, especially if the owner, is a real sense of balance. Things are never really either as good as some people may portray, or probably never as bad either. So I even say it to my kids now, the problem isn't necessarily the problem, it's how you react to the problem. That I think is something that is key to me. So, I think we're always learning. You're always learning. I think whenever you think you're the smartest person in the room, I'd argue, are you in the right room, kind of thing. So yeah, we've got a great team. We've got some great learnings, some stuff we don't know yet. The world is volatile. It's massively changing. I think you've got to stay on the front foot and almost ahead of the change rather than it sort of dictating to you what's kind of going to happen. And as I said before, in terms of celebrating, I think you've got to kind of enjoy the journey as well. You know, you spend a lot of time at work, spend a lot of time with who you work with. So yeah, try and enjoy it. Try and get that balance. I mean, I think post-COVID, we're all sort of resetting a little bit on kind of that work-life balance. I mean, when you first start a business, that's a hell of a challenge in terms of sort of family life. Getting to a point now where that's in a good place, but the family understand that as you're developing things. I'm sure Gareth will say the same in Ireland with his family.
Would you, looking back, would you do it all again?
Yeah, I think I absolutely would. I mean, that's the stuff that sort of gets you out of bed every day. I mean, I wouldn't like to do the pandemic again. That's probably about the only thing. Though even within that, there's learnings. We're all still doing stuff differently and better than maybe before. But yeah, I think sometimes you learn more getting some of the stuff wrong than right. But yeah, it's been a great ride today. Why wouldn't you jump on again? Yeah.
Two final questions. The first one is what about the future? So, you know, we're always learning, as you said, and someone famously said to me, things we used to do in a year, we're now doing in a week, since the pandemic, or because of the pandemic, presumably. So where's the company going into the future? What's new?
Well, it's easy to do more new things. I think there's a hell of a lot of stuff we can go after just building on what we're already selling in terms of creating more distribution outlets and bringing more people on board, you know, into the brand from a shopping perspective. But absolutely, there's a clear sort of health and well-being agenda out there. So there's a clear, you know, sustainability agenda out there. So there's lots of things that I think we can be doing in terms of product packaging and that type of thing. At the same time, like you said, I think through things like artificial intelligence now, right across, you know, industry, there is so many new ways of improving process, being smarter, being sharper, being more timely, being more cost effective. There's some watch outs that come with it, you know, absolutely as well. And we're sort of entering a bit of an unknown world there. But I think it's exciting. You know, one of our business values is opportunity in everything. So for us, we're going to be, again, hopefully on the front foot with a lot of these things. So yeah, you can't stand still, you know, in a world that's moving fast.
Final question, for people who want to get involved in the celebrations, people want to nominate people. How does everyone join in with this 20-year anniversary in our part of the world?
So people who are in the industry, so the trade side of it, your local wholesalers, your local retailers, they'll be highlighting campaigns both online and offline. You'll be able to pick up, you know, information around that, and then it's really just a matter of voting on it, and there'll be a panel that'll sit. So you know, anybody can win this. And when it comes to consumers, a lot of it will be driven by social media and press coverage. So again, anybody who could be in anything from, let's say, hospitals to schools to sports facilities, anything like that, where you believe there's a local hero that you want to nominate. Again, through probably our website, through our social media channels, you'll have information about that. And again, it's there to be won.
Well, Simon, thank you so much for sharing a small part of what I'm sure is a much bigger story around Boost and the drinks and the journey that you've had over the years. We wish you and the team continued success into the future. And obviously, we love working with you here at Bauer Media as well. And we hope that your business continues to thrive for many years to come. Thanks for being our guest.
Thanks very much, David. All the best.